Perhaps the greatest violin virtuoso of all time was an Italian by the name of Niccolò Paganini. Never has anyone been able to play with the unbelievable dexterity he showed, or conjure up the sounds that he did from his instrument. So great was his talent that people thought he must be in league with the devil. No human being could possibly play that way. He has been called the first rock star. With his flamboyant appearance and extraordinary ability, he captivated and enthralled the audiences of Europe in the early 1800s. One evening, Paganini was performing before a packed house. As he was playing the final piece of the evening, one of the strings on his violin snapped. The audience sighed and booed, knowing he could not go on. Undeterred, Paganini kept playing on the 3 remaining strings as the audience gasped in wonder and awe. A few measures later, a second string snapped. Again, without missing a beat, Paganini kept going, now reduced to playing the piece on just 2 strings. Then, unbelievably, the 3rd string snapped, leaving him with just 1 string on the instrument. Yet even then, Paganini did not lose nerve, but just kept going, finishing the piece with incredible virtuosity on that 1 string left to him. So brilliant was his performance that the crowd was howling like people possessed. They leapt to their feet in an awe-filled standing ovation, shouting for an encore. Raising his violin above his head, Paganini called to the audience, "Paganini and 1 string!" The orchestra struck up and Paganini played his entire encore on just 1 string. Such music had never been heard before. Do you ever feel like your strings are breaking one by one? Do you ever feel that you are down to your last string and that one is about to snap? You're in good company. We hear of Jesus just coming in from church where he had been interrupted by demons talking back to him. Now he comes home and has to deal with a mother-in-law. No sooner does he take care of her when already the whole town is beating down the door, bringing him every sort of problem imaginable. No wonder that he ran off and escaped before dawn to catch his breath and pray. But they pursued him even there, and when they found him, they told him, "Everybody is looking for you." Do you ever have a day like that? No wonder he responded, "Let's get out of here." He could have stayed in that town for another 100 years and the problems would have kept on coming. People can be bottomless pits, energy vampires, and the more of yourself you give, the more empty you become, the more they demand. There were other places that needed him, more pieces to play in the concert of his life, and now he was re-energized and could move on. Each of us has an incredible amount of strength within us, and sometimes we don't realize what power we have until we are playing on our very last string. We tap into that power when, like the Christ, we turn inward and reach upward. And this is called prayer. How many times do we see Jesus himself retreating alone in silent prayer, precisely at the times when he was busiest and under the most stress, when he must have felt that his strings were snapping one by one. Prayer, conscious connection with the divine inside him, gave him the energy to go on. How did he do it? How do we do it? How do we go on, surrounded by demons and mothers-in-law and worries and problems and impossible situations? How do we continue when all our strings are snapping? The rising young spiritual writer Chris Jami gives a brilliant insight. To ask, how do you do it, is already starting off on the wrong foot. When reaching for the stars, there does not have to be a how if there is a big enough why. We are reaching for the stars. We have a big enough why. Let us tap into that vast ocean of divine energy right inside of us, and we will be amazed at what we can do on that one string that never breaks, the string connecting our soul to the divine. We will be amazed at the sound of our own music. We will be truly amazed. How awesome is the encore of our life?